Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnana Murtim Dvandvatitam Gagan Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Upashama Prakarana, section 53. And Uddalaka continues to practice affirmation. And through this, you are being given the insight into how to handle your mind, allow the mind to gain the understanding of the truth. That's the whole process called affirmation. You want to attain liberation? Close your eyes, relax your mind. Try to figure out what liberation looks like. And affirmation means, I'm liberated. See if the mind is happy all over or not. If it is not, then correct it. So that's positive thinking at its climax. We should think positively. But the climax of positive thinking is thinking process that enables you to realize, who are you? Who am I? I is a big question before everyone's head, or say before the eyes of everyone. What lies before eyes is the I problem. Otherwise, all things are lies. What lies before eyes? Lies. Now, keeping that in view, let's try to understand how important that point is. Using your mind to understand, who are you? Who am I? First person hearing this is, I know myself all the time. I have my ID and everything. But you go to sleep, in dream you have left your ID behind. And you have a different ID. It doesn't matter. But in dream, three things go wrong. The dream subject, the dream world, and dream experiences. And you wake up and think that you are out of the dream, but that is not really so. The same defects continue. You don't know all about yourself. And your mind tries to hide the problem by going after possessing objects. How much can I own? How powerful am I? How many wonderful relatives do I have? How much popular am I? But behind all that, who are you? Don't do it. All that seems so important. Behind all that importance, the real importance is to discover, to realize the I am. And that requires allowing the mind to become spiritually sensitive. And that's the purpose of your life. And that, just to give you a simple idea, in order to do that, you have to have satsanga, good association. And you must live with the philosophy of be good and do good. Sri Uddalaka continued his reflections. Limited objects composed of earth, water, air, fire can become fragrant when treated with fragrance, but the self which is unlimited cannot be rendered fragrant or foul by the vasanas of the mind. In other words, the self is ever untouched and untainted by the vasanas. Let me explain that. We have touched upon those points previous day, but we are doing it again, called Gadapari Nyaya. Vasanas relate to subtle desires of your unconscious. And vasanas develop in your mind on the basis of karma. Your soul, dominated by ignorance, is looking for perfection in the world of time and space. And that cannot be possible, but it is ignorance that is leading the mind. So, one comes under the trap of karma. What should I do? What type of karma should I create in order to have perfection, fullness, complete satisfaction? But simple point to understand, anything that you attain led by karma is perishable. And if you are in the realm of karma, then you cannot stay the same. You are constantly changing. The dream subject in dream is in the realm of karma. The dream subject is never the same. The waking subject also is never the same, constantly changing. And what will change it more or goes on changing is karma. You decide to do different types of actions. Actions are good deeds, negative deeds. But human personality does mixed What you think good is not completely good. It's always mixed up. What's bad may not be completely bad. Good and bad. But all that you are gaining in the world is a constant change, but not the same absolute reality. You are constantly moving in a world of change, and that keeps you thirsty, not fulfilled. So no matter how much you gain in the world, you can have the best of your dream fulfilled. Live a whole life of 125 years. I'm minimizing it. You can live not a single day of any pain and headache. Everything free for you. Can attain anything you want, led by your whim. But what's happening? You are never the same, even for 2 days. Never the same, even in a single day. Fruit of karma is constantly changing. And if your happiness is on the basis of karma, then there is no real happiness. You are constantly being tainted by the vasanas. 2 days back, you find yourself very energetic, etc. Today, you may not find yourself energetic. The vasanas operating in your subconscious, influencing your body, mind. So therefore, you are constantly being tainted, affected. You as your individual soul, which is not the reality. Individual soul is a reflection, like a reflected sun in a jar of water. The reflected sun, as it evolves, whatever reflected sun gains or experiences is not the sun. So, you must come to a state of not discovering itself in the realm of water, in the realm of your mind, or through the mind. Mind-based experience is not liberation. Mind-based experience, mind that is moving outwards, objectivity. The mind that questions, who am I? And comes to discover even ego is not my reality. A mind that looks at 3 states, waking, dream, deep sleep. How the waking world is so real, and then suddenly it becomes unreal in your dream. And then when you go to deep sleep, neither there is a dream nor waking. And you are in no way lost. Rather, you feel really relaxed. What is it pointing to? Pointing to the real self within you, the real who am I, is beyond your waking state, beyond your dream state, beyond your deep sleep state. All these states operate through your mind. And the mind itself undergoes changes. In sleep, mind comes to a state of becoming undifferentiated. Mind becomes as if it's melting, but does not melt into truth. It's like a plastic bag that has melted water and put the bag into ocean or a river. The water comes in contact with the whole river, feels all is over, I'm happy. But to wake up, you are waking up again with the same mental ingredients, subtle ingredients that keep your mind distinct from other minds. And your experiences are different. But that distinction loses when you are in sleep. But plastic doesn't tear off. But if you practice samadhi, go through the sadhana process, that plastic, we call veiling, avarana, breaks. Then your internal revelation, I am, not body, not mind, becomes so clear that all other experiences become like little waves. And your own experience, you are the ocean behind all the waves. So there's no need to say waving goodbye to the waves. Living in the world, and the world becomes a toy. And your own reality remains firm, unaffected. We also give you simpler illustration. In the state of enlightenment, you become like the sky. The sky, if you are not the sky, then you are a patch of blue in the clouds. Patch of blue has no rest. Clouds cannot make it rest. As an individual soul, you are a patch of blue. As enlightened, you are the sky. When you are the sky, you have no contradiction with clouds, whichever they want to. They can come up without having good suits and good decorations. They come up ugly and shouting, noisy and terrifying. The sky welcomes them, doesn't restrict its space, good or bad. And they go through all that, and the sky remains unscratched. Look at the sky, it has nothing to tell you about history. Same is your innermost I am. And that same is God, Brahman, God of all religions. And that's the goal behind every soul, to come to that understanding, not a stray patch of blue, defined by shifting clouds of the mind, but transcending the mind, allowing the mind to thin out and melt away. In that process, you go on discovering you are the sky. And that, in the beginning, may be progressive. A little you get it for few days, and then many days you don't get it at all. But as you go on doing your abhyasa, repeated effort, and insisting on practicing your sadhana, integral yoga, then you are being led to your spiritual destiny, realization of who am I. That's the real destiny. Other attainments are dust, eddy. lot of dust. Destiny, destiny. The vasanas do not belong to me. You think of the sky talking to the clouds. Clouds are coming, threatening the sky. I'm going to overpower you. And the sky says, you clouds, they don't belong, you don't belong to me. The reflection of the self in the intellect has created the illusion of the vasanas. The reflection of the self in your mind. In a mental process, when you begin to figure out who am I through your mind, of course there is no other choice. You always understand yourself through your own mind. But what mind brings out to you about yourself is like a jar of water that is reflecting sun or moon. Reflection looks wonderful. There's nothing like it. So when you look at yourself, there's nobody like me. And when ego begins to develop, I am the best. What I know, nobody has ever seen. You figure it out. And you are true. What you have experienced is unique to yours. At the same time, it is not true. Now, coming to deeper understanding, I am pure consciousness. The objects that are thought of by my mind during waking state, they do not touch me. I who am beyond the mind. Also I am untouched by the experiences of dream. In fact, I am beyond waking, dream and deep sleep states. You are being directed towards the essence of all Vedic teachings. They are called Mahavakyas, great utterances. Mahavakyas, first, Prajnanam Brahma. Brahman is pure awareness. God, the Absolute, is pure awareness. So, try to embolden yourself to grasp that statement. It's very simple, at the same time extremely elusive. Everybody asks, have you seen God? Where can I find God? But every bit of experience that you have, awareness of anything, that awareness is a glimpse of Brahman. So the very eyes are looking for, where is Brahman? The very awareness behind your looking process is nothing but Brahman. Try to now figure out the subtlety. Awareness of so many things. You have awareness in 3 stages. Bhur, bhuva, swa. Bhur means practical reality, led by your senses. And that's the world that people go through their whole life. Practical world. I will not go in detail, but your awareness of the practical world. But practical world becomes little compared to your awareness of your feelings, countless feelings, and then make your world totally different. And then your awareness of unconscious state, where the world has gone into a seed state. Absence of all this. And then all these three levels of awareness are constantly changing. They are not permanent. But what is permanent behind all these three? Awareness in itself. We talk of existence in itself. Is awareness in itself. That is God, that is Brahman. And that Brahman never left you, even a second, even for a moment. Because every awareness in you is backed up by awareness in itself. Absolute awareness on one side and awareness of names and forms on the other side. Absolute awareness is like a calm ocean. The awareness of the world and awareness of all other things you experience, they are reflections in that ocean. Or consider little waves in that ocean. And there isn't a single wave that has been rejected by the ocean. Ocean is the reality behind everything. This point is the highest, the goal of your understanding. That's called enlightenment. I am untouched by the good and evil karmas which have given rise to the existence of the physical body. Let this body continue to exist or let it die. I am ever beyond it. I am the untainted self. Another big spiritual understanding, spiritual lesson. Constantly everyone is working upon mortality. Everyone is handling the biggest problem, mortality. If it's not yours, then people around you. You can be just 5, 7 years old and see your parents suffering, and if not parents, grandparents dying, and you hear all the cries going go on, and how there is always mortality that haunts everyone. Your reality is immortality. What makes you turn to mortality? You have let the I. Discover the I, and your mortality is no longer a fearful movement. It's immortality. Fear of death is a myth. Who is dying? Physical body? Personality, mind, intellect? They are constantly changing, even in your in your life, your body has gone through many changes. It has the body that you had 6-7 years back. You don't have any drop of it, and that doesn't bother you because you feel that because that's your instinct. The real I is not the body. Similarly, the real I am is not the mind, not the intellect, not the ego. And you don't depend upon karmas for your longevity. If you are defining yourself as individual personality, backed up by your good karmas or whatever karmas, individual personality is constantly defined by karmas. But real I am is not defined by karmas. So therefore, attaining enlightenment is not a matter of figuring out what should I do and how much should I do and creating a mathematics. And similarly, how many evils, how many vices should I correct or remove, and how many negative karmas should I correct, that again, that question does not arise. In other words, you come to a stage where you don't look back. You are not dependent. Your spiritual movement is not dependent upon what you were in the past and how many negative karmas you have, and you begin to worry about God, how can He handle it? That we see. Tell with understanding of God. Therefore, it is not the karmic factor that will lead you to God realization. Of course, if karma becomes karma yoga, do your duties, but in the spirit of surrender to God. Not for securing objects of the world, but securing revelation of I am. That is the process of attaining enlightenment. For karma, from karma you are being led to akarma. From action, karmic action, to negation of action. Though you are doing the same things apparently, but because of your inner understanding, the body is subject to birth and death, but consciousness is all-pervading and eternal. The individual soul is but a reflection of the Absolute, which is beyond the range of being killed or killing anyone. Who is the doer, actor in every individual? The real source is the divine self, Absolute. Every reflected sun in a pot of water seems to be most brilliant personality doing amazing things. But in that amazing things done by your reflected sun, question, who is doing it? Not the reflected sun. The sun, real sun. First mind goes after your soul. Soul is the one doing karmas. And from the basis of that, we develop egoism. I have done these. Negative ones, I'm not sure about that. But first stage, do the best things. Be good, do good. But at the same time, understand who is doing the amazingly good things. That who is not your ego. God within you. And that God is your own essential nature. A reflected sun becomes qualitative when the water becomes clearer. But no matter how qualitative, its quality is not its own, it is the sun. So therefore, the real I am in you has nothing to do with karmas. This being so, you can't be killed, nor you have the ability to kill anybody. You can't be hurt, nor can you hurt others from the I level, the real I am. From another point of view, very difficult to, but in spiritual literature, sages stated, even if you were to kill millions of people, you have done nothing. That's what Krishna says to Arjuna. And the idea of being killed, and that's a statement made, it's just like the same statement I said. Even if clouds come with all the force shouting at the sky is not injured. The sky does not kill, can't be killed. So is your innermost self. Life and death are mere imaginations of the impure mind. Impure mind means unenlightened mind. Mind that is not enlightened suffers from three troubles: mala, vikshepa, and avarana. Mala means gross impurities: anger, hate, greed, distemper, and all weaknesses, vices that are gross impurity. Source of the gross impurity is your subconscious desires. Those desires, we have explained before, when they are based upon ignorance, egoism, attachment, hatred, fear of death, those desires become a basis for causing tremendous distraction in your mind. Mind becomes a monkey, but a worst monkey you can think of. Because it is led by so many subtle desires. But all those subtle desires begin to melt away when you go through the experience and revelation of who am I. And the third type of obstacle is your ignorance, veil of ignorance. Mala, vikshepa, and avarana. Mala is destroyed by Manonash. That we will be explaining to you more. Manonash means mind gains serenity in spite of all your challenging situations. Mind is able to relax and entertain yoga nidra. But that will not be possible if you have not gone through certain spiritual progress. That's Manonash. The mind becomes so confident and strong that listens to all things that go on in the world, gain, loss, adversity, prosperity, but it is focused on and fixed with, doesn't make any difference. I am the same. The I am is never lost. And you have that type of stability, then you have attained Manonash. This Manonash, as you go on attaining Manonash, what's happening? Your vasanas are also going through changes. Your subtle desires, subtle impressions, they are not impressions of fear, impressions of egoism, impressions of attachment and hatred. They are impressions of generosity, compassion, humility, all divine qualities. So when you have that type of vasana, distraction moves away. And vasana itself is on its way to dissolve, called vasana kshaya. Cloud first gains light. It begins to develop beauty, swirls in a beautiful shimmer and shine, and ultimately dissolves. So that's the state. That state is called vasana kshaya. And the third stage, the veil that you had always a restriction over your vision, that veil moves away. That veil has no reality in it. Now your vision just breaks the last abstract veil. And then you are absolutely enlightened. Put it in another way, all the three are synonymous. Manonash will not happen unless you have vasana kshaya. Vasana kshaya will not happen unless there is removal of the veil. So all the three, you may consider it progressive, but ultimately they are one and the same. He who is identified with the body is subject to the wheel of birth and death. But, O self, you are devoid of this identification. Therefore, how can you experience the dualities of the world? As if you are talking, affirmation process. You're trying to understand if you are not the body, if you are the eternal self, then you find the body idea distant from you. As if you are talking to the body, you body, what you are. And whatever you are, whatever you are going through, what have I to do with it? And subtle ideal before aspirant or for anyone who is spiritually advancing, to understand body is your instrument. kitchen knives, etc., forks, etc., are needed when you eat food, but you don't chew them. Body is an instrument. Senses, mind, intellect, ego, all these are different ducks in a, and you have to put them in a row. To whom does the I-ness belong, which is projection projected on the body? Does it belong to the ego, or to the mind, or to the objects? Now the question is, who am I? Look at the body, is it you? The senses, call them your my senses, your eyes. My eyes are not well, so you have to wait until your eyes get better to see things better way. And there are times when you say, my mind is not thinking clearly. Come next day. And sometimes my ego is very irritated. So be careful of me. All this becomes possible because we are different. So you can see your ego as your channel, as your instrument. See your mind, your instrument. So if you become wiser, try to make all these come in order. They come under the guidance of the higher self. May their functions be purposeful. And the purpose is to creating a channel for the soul to realize, who am I? Anything that helps you to understand the real me, that's called purposeful movement. But all movements that are taking you away from your own inner self, that's not purposeful, purposeless, vain. The world of vanity. The body is nothing but a blend of flesh, blood, bones, marrow. The Mahabharata talks about the Lakshagriha. The Pandavas find themselves in a shellac, in a palace of shellac. All things that are used to build the palace were just like, they were combustible materials, things that can be set on fire. And it is an allegorical way to describe your own body. Your soul with four self-effort, four purposes of life. They are the Pandavas within you. And your body is on fire, constant fire. But when you come to realize it, the Pandavas started digging a tunnel, which implies, I'm not going to the Mahabharata story, I'm just telling you, having understood this, how to escape this big fiery predicament, create a tunnel through your own heart by your meditation, etc. And through the internal movement, as you begin to explore, go beyond the senses, there is mind. Beyond the mind, there is intellect. Penetrate the intellect level, and you have escaped this burning palace. All this in description seems like big things to be done, but it is simple understanding that you are not the physical body. When we talk of body, we are talking of three bodies: physical body, subtle body, which relates to your emotions, imaginations, all that occur in your subtle body. And then you have causal body, unconscious. All the three are subject to fire. Physical body by physical fire. Mental body is fire of sorrow and misery. Causal body is a fire of wisdom, Jnanagni. All the bodies are meant to be burnt up. But this has nothing to do with you. The I am is like the Akasha, sky. All the flames can go on in the forest. The sky is untarnished. No one goes after saving the sky. And I am that sky. So that type of revelation has to come and be digested. That's the spiritual life with this wisdom. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukum Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshyamamritat Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Mritam Gamaya Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Hari Om Tat Sat.